hello, and welcome back to another episode of Miraculous Thinking. I'm your host, Elenique Marie, and with me, the beautiful Crystal Ann Compton. And today we are about to start our fabulous journey into the body of God. Right there by Karen Curry Parker. As you may remember, last week we wrapped up part 2 of our beautiful little exploration into illusions. And I have to say, I still feel like that book is giving me stuff to think about, Crystal. Even
Good.
after we wrapped up, I was like thinking of some of the ideas we talked about on the podcast, and I thought, wow, what a powerful book, and so small.
Very
Written
small.
as a So I
But
enjoyed it.
some cool imagery. I kept thinking
Very
about the
cool.
wrench because my husband's always tooling
Yes.
around and working on something. But yeah, that was a good
Yes.
book. I enjoyed it.
And so today we're going to talk about the introduction, and we're going to talk about the 13 key disciplines of inside the body of God. And also we are going to discuss the final section, the Abundance Manifesto, where sort of the main ideas of these 13 key disciplines get put into a sort of a manifesto, a declaration that you're going to give yourself. And we have some ideas about how we want to play with this manifesto in the coming weeks, sort of as an experiment. The Karen Curry Parker does give a suggestion about how to go through the book, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And next week, we will jump into the first 3 chapters of Inside the Body of God. So if you haven't gotten the book already, you're still in time to get it, because today we're just kind of doing the intro and the intro to the intro, little bit of intro.
Yeah, just kind of setting up the book for our adventure to come. And I have to say, having read those parts, I'm just like, ooh, this feels really magical.
It does.
Like this feels like there's activations right here within some of the words. So I'm excited to get, and I just love the quotes from the Gospel of Thomas and the words of Jesus. I just think this whole thing is pretty highly charged. So I'm excited about it. Now, but I did want to throw a curveball at you, Elenique, because of course we have a planned set of books that we read, but I know you are always reading on the side and I am always reading on the side. And so I wanted to ask you, before we get into this book, like is there another book right now that you're reading?
Well, I'm reading this book right now. See, as I'm always reading on the side. I'm reading actually this book right here.
Paramahansa Yogananda's Super Advanced Courses. Okay, Galaxy Brain.
And actually, I pulled it up. I had it here because as I was reading it, something that he says about intuition matches up with some of the things that she says in the 13 disciplines. And so I thought, I want to kind of discuss that when we get there. Yeah.
Okay.
But just again, that intuition is that thing that so many of us disregard to our peril, and also confuse. We've so disconnected from it that we don't even know what is intuition and what is fear. People are like, oh, it was my intuition told me not to go down the alley. Well, yeah, and fear, but they're not the same thing. And so what is it to be intuitive? Because so much of what she lays out in this Abundance Manifesto is about who are you, and where does your true intelligence come from? Where does your true purpose come from? And if you can't learn to recognize that because you're so wrapped up in your conditioning, and she does start to introduce human design in this part about how knowing your design helps you understand how you're conditioned and not listening to your intuition. So I think this is going to be a great adventure.
Me too. Oh, cool. All right. Well, I want to show you the book that I am reading.
Yes.
And I don't know what got me thinking about this, but I must have read this book probably in like 2004, 2005. I was really geeking out at the time on the work of Elizabeth Clare Prophet.
Oh.
Do you know who she is?
Yes.
Summit Lighthouse. Do you remember her from like the 90s and the 80s? She would have like this kind of like head of short curls, and she would be up on the stage behind the pulpit, and she would be preaching. But when she would talk about the God and the ascended master. She spoke like that.
Yeah.
It was really freaky. At the time, I was an evangelical Christian, and I'm like, get thee behind me, Satan. I rebuke you, because it was so weird. But now, all these years later, some of the books that she wrote are really, really interesting. And I remembered them one night while I was just up thinking, and I'm like, what about that book about Jesus? So I got up on the Amazon and I
Ooh.
purchased this book, which I've had before, which is The Lost Years of Jesus. Like, what was Jesus doing the years between like 12 when he sits down with the priests in the temple and takes them to school, and then 30 when he starts his ministry? Because there's a lot of different theories about what Jesus was up to. Do you think he was just with Joseph building houses,
No.
or could he have been in India? Could he have
This
been
is
in
crazy
Tibet?
that you're bringing this up, Crystal,
Why?
because the first couple pages of this book
Mm-hmm.
is specifically about the hidden lost years of Jesus, believe it
Really?
or not. He says here, um, St. John's revelation can be understood and known only by Christian metaphysicians and yogis. Jesus Christ was an Oriental and a yogi. A document found in a Tibetan monastery proves that during his
Yes.
unknown life, between his 12th and 13th year, he was
Yes.
in India and conferred with the wise men of the East about the mysteries of the inner life, returning the visit they paid him at his birth. How crazy is it that you're reading that while I'm reading this?
That's bizarre. And that I would ask you about what you're reading because I didn't prepare. We didn't
Yes.
talk about this beforehand.
No.
That's interesting. And then there's Jesus, the quotes of Jesus in this particular book that we'll be getting
Yes.
into. So maybe Jesus is trying to move us
Mm,
around a little bit and activate something inside of
I
us.
agree. He mentions a book in here, The Unknown Life of Christ by Nicholas Notovich,
I've heard of this book.
a detailed account of Jesus'
Hmm.
visit to India.
Hmm.
I would love to read that
I
as
would
well.
love it as well. Well,
Yeah.
maybe this is why we're going down that path.
Yes. Okay.
Well, and before we start, I have one more thing. We did get an email that I wanted to share. This is from Lisa A. And she says, "Hi, ladies. I've been meaning to write in my thoughts more often, but I keep getting busy and forgetting to do so. Can relate.
Yeah.
I wanted you to know how much I appreciate the both of you breaking down these books. As I was reading along, I sometimes couldn't make sense of what was going on in the story," and she's referencing illusions, "but
Okay.
was relieved to know that you would break it down for all of us, and you really did. This book was super unique. There were
Mm-hmm.
a lot of cool nuggets of info in it, and some concepts I found a bit hard to make sense of. I'm absolutely loving this book club. Reading along with you ladies gives me the feeling of connection to you and all the others that are reading alone. So much fun. Thank you again for all you do.
Oh,
Lisa A."
love it. Thank you,
Thank
Lisa.
you, Lisa. That makes us feel
It
good.
does. It does make us feel good.
That's awesome. Fantastic. We love hearing from you. And to that end, if anybody would like to write in, give us some of your feedback on the books that we are
Yes.
talking about, please feel free to do that. You can write us at miraculousthinking@gmail.com. That's one word, miraculousthinking@gmail.com. And of course, we're on Facebook. You can look up Miraculous Thinking. We have a little group. We're kind of small. We intend to get more active in that group and provide some content and some assets that you're not getting on this podcast. So if you're on Facebook still, you can find us, ask to join, and we'd love to have you. And then, of course, for those of you that just listen, please know that you can see our beautiful faces on YouTube. If you want to watch video form of this podcast, you can do that. Links to our YouTube and to our Facebook and to the email are in the description of this podcast. Wherever you want to consume the content, we would love it.
We support you.
Well, all right, let's get into Inside the Body of God by Karen Curry Parker. So, why don't we start with generalities? Like, obviously, we just read just a short amount to start, but again, very magical. What were some of your thoughts about the content thus far?
So, what I like about especially her intro is that she introduces this idea of the new earth. And that, even though there's a lot of apocalyptic, projections that have been made because of the chaos that we're enduring right now, all crossroads are moments of change. So chaos, and I love how she says, there is chaos because there's an infinite number of paths. That is what is creating the chaos. If we were stuck in the old world order, the way things are, and there was no possibility of change, it would feel stable and hopeless. But it is this chaos that if we can reframe chaos as an opportunity to choose a better path, then it's in our hands to do so. So I love that. What did you think about that?
Yes, I totally agree. I think that's a great way to explain that. I love this part that she said. It starts off with a bang, and she gets right to the intention and the mission statement of this particular book. She says, humanity is at a crucial crossroads. We have a choice to accept a time of suffering and destruction, or to take the reins of creation into our hands in order to become the stewards of this new era. Either way, we play a powerful role in co-creating with God the world in which we participate. The real question is, which destiny will you choose? So just setting it
Yes.
right out there. We are always creating. You are a part of what is being created on this planet.
Mhm.
What do you choose to create from this moment on? And we also are going to get into like the delineation, like don't worry about what happened before, what came before. There really is only this moment, and what you choose to focus on in this moment is the cornerstone of what you create tomorrow.
Exactly. Exactly. And I love that she says to achieve that we need to be rooted in the consciousness of God.
Yes.
I love that line. And that to do so takes practice and discipline, because our belief systems are so deep, and we've talked about this so many times in this podcast about habit and belief systems and emotions that come from beliefs. And she says that the epigenetics, our own epigenetics, show the belief systems are wired into the body by the age of 6 years old.
Wow.
So if we're looking at the bulk of us and anybody who's had a traumatic start to their life, that means that wiring, that belief about how things have to go and what's true and what's not true and what's possible, what's impossible, is so deeply established already by the time you haven't even started, like you're in first grade, and you already have this belief system predisposing the rest of your life. And that's why it's so important to, first of all, awaken to the fact that you are not a victim, which she goes very much into. She's very much about taking ownership of your life, because when you stop being a victim, you can change the story that you tell about yourself and own it and then transform it.
And keep in mind, if your beliefs are set at the age of 8, they don't even belong to you. They could not possibly. They belong to your parents, and they belong to your grandparents. This is where the ancestral line, the epigenetics come into play. And so many of us are just operating on autopilot and on default, just puppeting the belief systems that were imposed upon us by those that came before us. It really is time to wake up. And here again, have that intention around what you are going to create for your future and for everybody else's future as well.
Exactly. And I love that she says that that process of reprogramming the mind that we call, oh, you're going to reprogram the mind, or you're going to change your story or your neural pathways. That's what the ancients called alchemy.
Right.
And I thought that was amazing, because it is alchemy to change a negative into a positive, to change a negative belief system into something that serves you, to take something that brings you pain and transform it into something that gives you power, is alchemy at its finest and subtlest. And so I was like, yes, I love that. I love that she puts
Let me
it that
ask
way.
you this. Do you think that alchemy, as we've learned about it, which is like turning lead into gold, right? This process, this magical process, do you think it was ever about that? Do you think they ever achieved that? Or has it always been about transformation of consciousness or states of being?
When I think about, I think sometimes things are symbols, symbols of stuff. I don't doubt that if we believe that all is mind, and that someone could become, I mean, they say the monks that levitate, that's defying a physical law. Jesus walking on water, as we just saw in Illusions, right? He said it's just a matter of deciding that you can, and you do. So I wouldn't doubt it that it was something that could happen, but I would say you'd have to be some extremely advanced spiritual being to do that, number one. And number two, even if you didn't, I think it's just symbolic for something. It's saying something that you think is impossible, like turning lead into gold, is possible with will and with discipline. And I think that symbol works for us to transform what we think are useless things.
There it is. Like the mundane, the lead,
the
the
mundane,
useless. I mean, it's not useless, but like it's the mundane
Yeah.
everyday into gold, which is also a kind of
Valuable.
ascension,
Right.
transmutation and ascension. Yes. Okay.
So that was interesting to me. And I love that she says in the introduction as well, creation is logical. I love that. She says that we have to have specific understandings that she's going to teach us in this book. This is a big promise. Specific understandings and steps that will help release beliefs that you are a victim. So
are you ready for that? Because
I'm
so many
ready.
people, I think a lot of people though don't realize that they are living in the loop and the energy of victimhood. And when they become prompted to get out of that state you're in, as the B-52 said, get out of that loop of victimhood, they're not going to want to, because they are so deeply embedded, habituated to the energy of it, that they fear what's on the other side of it, like to be uncomfy for a little while to kind of deprogram and then become the new thing. But you got to do it.
You have to. And she says something true. And this I've been hearing all the last 2 weeks in that yoga training. She said, just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's the bottom line. We think, well, if it's so simple, it has to be easy. The most simple things are the most difficult things to do. Believe or act upon.
Experience. God is love. That's simple.
Yeah.
But I mean, to experience that in totality, that's a whole other Oprah, as they say.
And there she gets to that place where she explains that she does want us to keep a journal throughout this process, because we are going to be confronting those belief systems and those thoughts and those patterns. And so to keep a journal as we explore these 13 key disciplines, because what we're going to be trying to understand here is the difference between fear and intuition. And I thought that was like, that is what it is, isn't it? We're trying to shed the fear that we've been conditioned to feel that is keeping us trapped in these repetitive patterns and belief systems and emotions, and listen to something more subtle, something true, which is the intuition that's always talking to you, that's always trying to really guide you in this very beautiful, simple way, but you want to make it complicated. We all do. No, it needs to be more complicated. There needs to be a burning bush. There needs to be, I need to see 777. I need to hear the name Michael 5 times today. You know what I mean? It's like, just listen to the intuition.
And I would say that intuition is a knowing. So this idea that something is always speaking to you can make you feel like, oh, this is something outside of me speaking to me. Whereas intuition is a knowing inherent to yourself. You already know. Right here in this moment, you already know the answer to the thing that happens tomorrow. You know the answer to the thing that happens 5-10 years from now. You are always in a state of knowing. It is the fear that keeps you in uncertainty. And so it's about removing the layers of the uncertainty and the fear, the programming and the beliefs, to get to the knowing that you already possess inside of you. Can I get an amen? Yes.
Amen.
Yes,
amen,
we want it. We want it.
And they say here at the end of this introduction, was it the one where the creation is a logical, where did we want to read to them?
Yeah, it was the final page. Creation is a logical process. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that quote was amazing. She says, creation is a logical process. The universe and God act in an ordered way. In this book, I will teach you specific understandings and steps that will help you release the beliefs that make you a victim of life. I will teach you to create your own reality, enter into this creative process in partnership with God, and ultimately allow for yourself a level of creativity that leads you on a path back to your magnificent divinity. It is a simple process, but not always easy. The rewards will have a lasting effect on you and leave a legacy for your earth brothers and sisters, as well as for our children and their children. We can manifest a delightful new earth where all souls remember the infinite power of creation that we carry within us. To do this, we will have to be disciplined in practicing the art of alchemy. Before you get started on the following lessons, there are 13 key disciplines that you must attend with great consciousness and deliberation. These disciplines take practice, focus, and intention. You will have days when it feels harder than other days. There will be times when you question yourself. That is part of the process. As you go through the lessons, you will learn how to navigate your way through the daily fluctuations of energy. Get a journal that you can dedicate to this work. Find a pen that fills you with joy when you write. Capture your questions and insights. Use the journal to respond to the exercises accompanying each chapter. You're always doing it right. You're always growing and changing, and it is truly all good.
Awesome. Interestingly, right? I don't have that part of the paragraph which says to have a journal in my book.
Are you serious?
Yeah, or to get a nice special pen.
Wow.
Which is interesting. Yeah, because you had mentioned it earlier, and I'm like, I don't recall her instructing us to get a journal. So for those of you out there with the same version I have, maybe you didn't have that as well. But nonetheless, it's a great prompt and idea. So if you have something to write with, I always love to have like a celebratory little journal, a journal dedicated to a certain work that I'm doing. And I love the idea of having kind of a pretty pen as well to kind of write down your thoughts.
I'm a penaholic.
Are you? I don't have.
My sister-in-law gave me this little pen. Look how beautiful this is.
Oh, wow. See, I don't have special pens. I need special pens.
She gave me this. Andreina, thank you. This is my sister-in-law. Fantastic. She got it for me at the present because everybody knows how much I love pens. But what I love about this and what I was thinking we could do is, what if we, since we're going to be going next week through like 3, and then I think we're doing like 3, how many chapters? It's 13 key disciplines. So I think we're going to do in 3 more weeks, right? We're dividing those chapters in.
Yes.
We're doing the month of May, right?
We're doing the month of May. We'll be done with the book by the end of May, but yes. What we're doing next week, 3 chapters, the week after that, 4 chapters, excuse me. I thought. The week after that, 3 chapters, and then the week after that, 3 chapters. So yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So as we do that, what I think we can experiment with is practicing those 3 disciplines for that week.
Oh, awesome.
That way it becomes manageable, and we can journal about those 3 things. So it can be very specific and be like, okay, so we're going to read through them now. But as we do, how easy was that for me? What was my response to the title itself, right? Like sometimes as soon as you see it, you're like, not going to do it. Right? Like there's this, and the minute you feel that resistance, it's already telling you something's up there. If there's a resistance or a belief that it cannot be done, that's exactly where the work is.
So are you saying that we should journal about these key disciplines 3 at a time as we go through?
Because we're going through the chapters, and then that way people can write in if they have a challenge, if one was harder than another. If they found a way to work with one that was interesting. I'm always eager to, because for me, it's about implementation. I'm done with reading for the sake of intellectualism and, learning facts. I want to embody these things at this point. And so anytime somebody can help me embody it, I welcome it. So that's you guys. We're talking to you.
Yeah. Your participation is wonderful. Yes. So definitely. Okay. So maybe this week we will focus on the first 3, first 3 of these 13 key disciplines, which we're going to cover all of them in talking today, but then journal about the first 3, just to be clear, because sometimes it takes a while to get through my noggin.
No, I wasn't that clear. So thank you for clarifying. It was good.
Well, why don't we because I'd like to read these because again, they feel very magical to me. Why don't we switch off? You can start us with the first discipline, read it. We can maybe talk about it, and then I'll do the second one and so on and so forth. How does that sound?
Sounds perfect.
Okay.
So the 13 key disciplines: release that which no longer serves you. When your hands are full, you can't open them up to receive something more unless you let something go. We're conditioned to make do with less than and to compromise. Everything you see, hear, smell, touch, and taste in your outer world is simply a metaphorical representation of where you're at with your alchemy and consciousness. Your outer world is always talking to you. If we consciously settle for less than, then less than will show up everywhere in our lives, including our bank accounts, our businesses, and our relationships. Now is the time to let go of old habits, patterns, thoughts, actions, relationships, jobs, and situations that are no longer in alignment with what you intend to create.
I feel like this is what we've been talking about, like week after week, like what is showing up on the screen of your life, what is being externalized in your now reality. That is just a link back to what is happening in the inner world. It is a map to what is in alignment and also what is out of alignment within yourself. And so instead of judging what is on the screen of your life and how you've lived your life up into this moment, we just use this as information and a kind of map to do the work that we are being called to do.
Totally agree.
Okay. The second key discipline, let go of your past, which we touched upon a little bit. She says the past is over. If you allow the stories and excuses from your past to keep you from courageously creating what you want, you are no different than an elephant that is conditioned by the feeling of having a chain around his leg, yet is actually free to roam. Do not define yourself by what you have survived. So many of us do that.
Yeah.
Do not define yourself by what you have survived. Surviving is less than thriving. Intend to thrive regardless of what has come before. Where you put your focus right now is the template for what is to come. Which, again, this is a retelling of what we've already said, but so powerful.
So much of Neville Goddard here, that you have to be able to, the feeling is a secret, and to create a vibration that is new. Because if you keep feeling the same vibration, you'll keep getting the same result.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Third, what is it?
Key discipline.
Third key discipline. Stay out of doubt. Evolution is happening, whether we believe it or not. Think about this. What would people have said in the year 1900 about what is taking place on the planet right now? We are using crystalline and satellite technology to speak to each other all over the world instantly. While I sit on the beach in California, my daughter can send me a photo of herself brushing her teeth, and I can reply with a selfie of me feeding seagulls in front of the ocean. I can check emails instantly from a tiny handheld computer that fits in my pocket. If everything we see, hear, smell, touch, and taste is simply a metaphorical representation of our alignment with our consciousness, then our technological advances are simply telling us that we are advancing. Change is happening. More and more people are waking up and remembering their divine magnificence and the power of alchemy. You can doubt change and evolution, yet the truth is that it's going to happen with or without your consciousness. It is law. We create by thinking and feeling, with the difference between choosing to be a conscious part of the process or choosing to create by default.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I mean, God doesn't need your belief. God is. Creation doesn't need your belief. Creation is. And evolution doesn't need your belief or doubt. It is happening. We are evolving.
Exactly.
Key discipline number 4, use fear as leverage. It's easy to get caught in the sticky web of fear, which can create paralysis and feelings of being stuck. Physiologically, we see that the experience of fear can shut down thinking and create a survival reaction. We mistakenly believe that we are experiencing fear in response to change and respond with conditioned paralysis. Most of us are not really experiencing fear. We are instead experiencing resistance. I've got to say that again. It's so good. Yeah. Most of us are not really experiencing fear. We are instead experiencing resistance. Real fear protects us. Real fear is your intuition telling you not to do something because it might be life-threatening. For example, your fear might tell you not to go into a dark alley at night. That is intuitive and reasonable. When you are choosing not to make a change because you are afraid, you are not really experiencing fear. You are experiencing resistance or a split in your energy. This kind of quote unquote fear is simply your inner compass letting you know that something in the application of your alchemical process is out of alignment. If you are feeling resistance, it is crucial that you ask yourself these 2 very important questions. A, am I intending what I truly want, or am I intending what I think I should want, what others want me to want, or what I think is possible for me? B, do I have beliefs that are keeping me from allowing myself to know that I can have exactly what I intend? For example, consider if you believe that you have to work hard to make money, or that to get what you want, that you worry it might hurt the people you love. When you courageously go for what you want with total honesty, complete authenticity, no holds barred, and no limits, and you believe without a doubt that you can have it, then your resistance magically melts away and you move forward with enthusiasm and great speed.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, yes.
I think it's so important, that last one, that when you come from a place of authenticity, no holds barred, and you believe it, then your own resistance melts away. And you can go at it with passion, right? With enthusiasm. And
Yes.
that's really why we can feel passionate about the things that we want, because there is sometimes a lot of ambivalence about whether it's what we really want. Yeah. Number 5.
Yes.
Diligently tend to your vibration. I
Mm.
think this is the hardest one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I think this is the hardest one.
This is the discipline and the practice
This
right
is
here.
it. This
Yep.
is it. At this point in our evolution, the matrix of time is bending and shifting. Speed is increasing. The time between a thought and its manifestation into form is getting shorter and shorter. We cannot afford to be lazy in our intentions and thinking. Yes, our neurobiology and our habits make it easy to fall back on old programming. To make change requires consistent application and discipline. Your mind is an abundant garden. A garden needs good light, soil, and water to reach its full potential. Tend to the garden of your mind. Give yourself light and nourishment to help you maximize the potentials of your dreams. Educate yourself. Surround yourself with people who support your creative process. Celebrate your successes. Nurture yourself and allow yourself to receive. Delight in your magnificence. Align yourself with your divinity. You are an unlimited child of God. The more you practice, the easier it gets. And the easier it gets, the easier it gets. First of all, can I just say how beautiful she writes?
She does.
How
Very
beautiful does she
eloquent,
write? Like,
very
it's
nice, very evocative.
so,
Yes.
and yet at the same time, it's not overly wordy or
Correct.
words that are so complicated you don't know what they mean. I just really love how she puts things. Always, always impressed.
I do as well. And I think this is such an important thing. I talk a lot in the stuff that I do about vibration modification, or how important it is to be aware, notice, and feel how you feel. Check in with yourself throughout the day. What am I thinking about? And how is my body feeling about what I am thinking about? And to make that discipline and that practice. And if you're feeling badly or thinking badly, what kind of things can you do for you to put you in a different vibratory state? Because we're always creating again. And if you're in that lower state, you're creating lower things. Simple as that. So if you want to create higher, newer, better things for yourself, you're going to have to change the state that you're in. And that is the practice. That is where, like, we're setting our alarms. We are training ourselves in how we think and feel about ourselves. This is the work, my friends. This is what we came here to do. And by the way, the work is never done. Tomorrow, I've got to mind my vibration too, and the next day as well.
And I think it's very hard. And this is the one I struggle with the most, because you can have done everything that you were going to do today. Like, you got up, you did your meditation, you did your stretching, you did your whatever, you're visualizing your mind movie, whatever it is, and everything's going fine. And then something will happen. Someone says something, does something, and you are like, it knocks you right off. Like if somebody just kicked the ladder from your ascent, you were going and then no. And it brings you right back down to that primal part of you that is so ready to fight, so ready to, to go into the confrontation. And how do you talk that part of you off the ledge? And I think it's sort of like meditation, where you have to every day just keep coming back and being like, we don't have to react like that. And then maybe for 1 second you don't feel angry, and then it comes back and you're like, doesn't have to be like that. It's okay. And maybe it's just seconds that you give yourself, but those seconds add up. And over time, suddenly maybe you wake up and you notice maybe it's not so automatic to feel so angry or so sad or so mad or so disappointed. Maybe it's easier to keep that vibration high.
Anything anybody says to you when you're in reaction will sound platitudinal and non-applicable because you're in reaction. The answer is what Mickey Singer talks about in The Untethered Soul, the disturbance, the thorn, right? Yeah. The disturbance is happening in your now moment, but it is connected to the thorn inside of you that's embedded somewhere. So the fact that there's a disturbance, which is your triggered response to something, is actually a beautiful opportunity. And you don't want to hear this though when you're reacting, but it is. It's actually a beautiful opportunity to find the thorn. And I think the way Mickey Singer talks about it is to kind of like lean back when you notice a disturbance, lean back, give yourself some space and proximity away from the disturbance so you can neutrally observe it and find the thread to ask the questions. What is this connected to? Find the thread to the thorn. And then in just being in the presence of that neutrality and the grace you're giving yourself for the process, not only does the disturbance pass by, as opposed to you leaning into it and then exacerbating it, but the thorn starts working its way out. Yeah. The issue is when we are in reaction, can we stop for a moment, take the breath, and initiate the process? It is always trying to teach you something about yourself. Yeah. True. And sometimes I'm too exhausted of that lesson in particular to care about it. I'd rather be in reaction. Thank you. Yeah. I'd rather be mad.
I think that's okay too. And I think that's okay to be in reaction and be okay that you're in reaction and just be like, okay, well, but I'm consciously in reaction right now. Yes. I'm not unconsciously in reaction. I'm choosing to be pissed and I'm gonna be pissed. And that's it. Yes. But you see, there's an awakeness there. There's almost something funny about it. Like you're having a tantrum and you're aware that you're having a tantrum, but you're just letting yourself have the tantrum, And I think that's different than just having the tantrum and not even being aware.
Oh, 100%. It's the scripture, in your anger, do not sin. It is okay to be angry, or it is okay to have fundamental reactions to wrong behavior and things. What's not okay is to turn that into sin, which just means missing the mark, means now you're exacerbating your karmic season and prolonging your own suffering. It is okay to be intentional in the actual emotion, though, to feel it and then to let it pass. So is there a better way to do it that feels more comfy? Probably. But are we always there? No.
I don't even know that I could access that
I don't know how to do it.
Go off the deep end. So
it's okay to be human. That's why we came to the planet. Okay. The next key discipline, number 6, remember who you are and why you are here. You are here for a reason. You intended to be here at this time to co-create the future of this world. You are an extremely powerful, unlimited, fully supported light being. Amen. You have an important role to play in the evolution of this planet. Each and every one of you has a special job here. In this incarnation, you chose a specific energetic blueprint, which is your human design, to help you fulfill your life's mission and purpose. It is crucial that you understand yourself and who you are so that you can continue to create in alignment with the magnificence of who you intended yourself to be. How do you hear that? What did you hear there?
I think it's just about remembering that you are here for a reason, that it's not an accident. And I love that final line. It is crucial that you understand yourself and who you are so you can continue to create an alignment with that magnificence. And I think most of us don't really know 100% who we are.
Oh, 100%.
And that's why we're creating lives and realities that are displeasing to us or that should be pleasing. It's incredible. People look at your life and they look at it from the outside and they think they understand everything about you and that how it should be to be you. And that the things that would make them happy should make you happy, right? So, if you have a nice house and you have a good car and you have, a healthy child, or whatever, you should be happy. That's good. Well, what could you possibly be stressed out about, right? But in reality, if who you are and your purpose is something completely different from that, it's not going to satisfy you. You're going to have an ache to be authentic, And I think that that is at the heart of all of it.
Yes. And I think there is, it's an important message about purpose, because I think too many folks think a purpose has to be grandiose.
Exactly.
I'm going to be the best-selling author on the New York Times bestseller list. I'm going to be Oprah. I'm going to be the next Oprah. And we have these big ideas, which only a fraction of 1% of us will ever actually achieve. But we never came here to achieve that in the first place. Purpose shows up in so many different ways. And really, all we have to focus on, again, is diligently tending to our vibration. Because if we do that, we achieve what's called a flow state. When you are in the vibration, that higher vibration, in the flow state, you are led from purpose to purpose to purpose, always unfolding from one into the next. You think that your purpose is to write a book. And as you're flowing into the work of that, you discover, oh, my purpose is also to talk to this person, to speak on a stage, to do all of this other type of work that I never anticipated had I not been in the flow state, leading me from purpose to purpose to purpose. So
exactly.
Don't get like caught up in what purpose is supposed to look like. Purpose is going to Starbucks and being kind to somebody, changing their day, which leads them to be kinder to the next person, who then turns around and invents the next technology. Your kind word in the Starbucks was your purpose for this new technology. You played a role in that.
Yes.
Right.
I always think that anything I do to better myself is to support my son, right? Like, I always think that the better I can be as a mother, the more things I can give to him for the purpose that he's going to fulfill, whatever that may be. But I always feel like that the highest achievement that I can have, and I know that a lot of people disagree with that, you know, they're like, no, you need to be a career person. You need to do, I do what I do, but my ultimate job title in this world is mother to this child. Like, that is the thing that I take the most pride in, and the thing that I aspire to try to be the best at. And if I do that well, then I'm good. You know, like, I did it. I did it. I mean, there's other things I want, you know, I want inner peace and all these things. But I do think that sometimes, especially now, it's like so minimized to be a mother, you know, and I find
to be a
so
father.
sad. Yes. Yes. So minimized.
These
as
simple
if it's
roles.
just like a stupid job that anybody could do. It's the hardest job. There's no bonuses. There's no annual review where you're like, wow, that was a really good job in the fourth quarter there. You know what I mean? No, it's just like everybody takes it for granted, but that's okay. You know, you do it because you want to do it.
Yeah.
So 7, ask for what you really want. You will get what you ask, but only if it's what you really want. If you're not courageously asking for exactly what you want, your vibration and intentions won't line up behind it. It won't happen. So many of us right now are walking around frustrated because this manifesting thing doesn't seem to be working. If what you're intending isn't really what you are wanting, if your seeming desire is a compromise, an obligation, or even if it isn't big enough, you will struggle to get enough energy rolling to create the momentum for creation. Part of the experience here on the planet right now is not so much about creating the things we desire, as much as it is about creating a vibration of joy and delight, as well as gaining the experience of mastering the power of alchemy. We must master alchemy, as we will be called on to co-create on a global level to change the collective matrix. If we are to collectively choose a destiny for this planet, we have to be experienced, conscious creators. That is a big one.
Let me ask you, was it a conversation that you and I were having last week where we were talking about subsignals?
Yes.
Usurping the manifestation signal? Okay. So just to reiterate, you will get what you ask, but only if it is what you really want. And so if you think what you want is to be a best-selling author on the New York Times best-selling list, but what your body, your spirit, your mind, your emotions really want is to be a mom, then you're actually manifesting what you actually feel yourself to be. Goddard said, believing and being are one. To me, that's about how you think, and believing is how you're feeling and vibrating. You manifest what you truly want. You manifest what you truly believe about yourself. And so if you believe that you are not worthy, even though you're trying to have your vision board and manifest all these new opportunities, if you believe inherently and innately that you are unworthy, you will only manifest according to that signal, which is why it's so important to do the work, the shadow work, the introspection and inspection of yourself inside, so you know what you're carrying around. Those are your subsignals. Those are your beliefs, your limiting concepts of self and of others that you unconsciously hold within yourself, but which are manifesting predominantly your reality day after day after day. It is about willingly becoming conscious to all of this.
And being comfortable with people not approving of you, because I think so many of us are driven by validation that we seek, and I'm sure that that's in there genetically from having to belong to the to the community. And if you were excluded from the community, you died, right? The clan. But it's because so many people are so uncomfortable not fitting in, because what their true desire is does not align with what the clan expects, that they will just continue to push for something when deep down it's really not what they want. They don't want it. And so we're just sabotaging ourselves, and on top of that, stressing ourselves out because we're doing it wrong.
Right.
It's not happening. I'm trying so hard, it's not happening. It's because you don't want it. It could be because
it could be, or you have some inner energetic baggage that you're not dealing with. Another point here that I thought was really important to underscore was that it's not so much about creating the things that we desire as much as it is about creating a vibration of joy and delight. It takes me back to Neville Goddard's exercise of "Isn't it lovely?" before dropping off to sleep, when you're in that beautiful trance-like state, just saying to yourself, "Isn't it lovely? Isn't it lovely?" And feeling until it takes on the tones of reality in your body, mind, and spirit what lovely feels like to you, and then dropping off to sleep. And the universe takes the request of that and then outpictures lovely for you. So it's not so much about getting specific as to what you want to manifest. I want this new car. I want to get this man. He's got to be 6'4". He's got to have this job. It's not about the specificities. It is about just figuring out for yourself how you can experience joy and delight in your day-to-day life and be in the vibration of that for as long as you possibly can each day. And the universe takes care of the rest. All those specificities, the universe takes care of. And that's ultimately way better than what you can plan for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. Is it my turn? Who read that? Was that you or me?
Okay. Your turn.
Key discipline number 8, pray for your evolution every day. This shift on the planet requires discipline. We cannot afford to spend energy focusing on the things we do not like about our world, or we will create that which we are seeking to eliminate from our experience. To stay aligned on the cutting edge of consciousness, it is crucial that you set a daily intention to vibrate in alignment with the high vibrations of joy, delight, and love. When you pray, see yourself manifesting the exact experiences and support that you need to help you clarify your intentions and maintain your vibrational alignment with that which you desire. That's a big sentence. Let's read that again and break it down. When you pray, see yourself manifesting the exact experiences and support you need to help you clarify your intentions and maintain your vibrational alignment with that which you desire. Okay, so help me out here, Elenique. When I am praying, I see myself manifesting the exact experiences to provide the clarity of what I'm creating in the future. So how do I even know what those exact experiences might look like that would help me to become clear on what I am creating?
So perhaps, let's say if you had a goal that you wanted to achieve something, and then you see what it would take to get to that goal. So you play with this movie, and sometimes it can become clear to that as you notice what you would have. Let's say, for example, you are a mom with some children at home and you also have this goal, and you start to imagine, what would it really take, right, for me to do this? I would have to do this, or I would do that, or I would have to go there. And you start to notice inconsistencies between that thing that you want to create and this reality that you also have here that is important to you. So you can then start to understand, oh, wait, how else would I have to set this up for this to be viable? Because, you know, we'd fail to do eco checks on our desires. So you can have desires that are going to conflict with one another. I want to be the most powerful businesswoman in the world. I also want to be the number one best mom in the world. And I want to be at every little league game and I want to be the homeroom mom. Well, that's going to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just pursue this one desire without checking in and having that movie that helps you to question, what does that look like? How do I get from A to B? Something's going to give. Either you're not going to reach this goal because you're going to realize it's impossible given the other things you want to hold on to, or you're going to sacrifice this and then you're going to get this and then you're still going to be disappointed and it's not going to look like you want. So just that exercise of calling in that support, that clarity, what would it really take? What does it really look like? Not that it can't all magically fall into place, but there are limitations on your personal, how much energy you have. There's only one of you. So I think in a way, when you pray, as you pray, you see yourself manifesting the exact experiences, what would need to happen, and the support that you would need. So do I need to talk to somebody? Do I need to discuss this with, if you have a spiritual mentor, maybe I can talk to this person about it. Maybe I can journal about this to clarify my intentions. Because if I don't have clear intentions, I can't manifest anything. I'm going to send a confused signal. And then to maintain your vibrational alignment with that which you desire, because otherwise you're sending a mixed signal. I want to be the best mom. I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do this and I want to do that. You can't. It's impossible.
That is a dense little sentence with
Lord,
a lot of steps, a lot of steps to actually.
I feel like we need to break it down.
Yeah, but it's good. So that's very rich in terms of a spiritual practice to help us manifest what we want.
Absolutely. I think that's what it means. I mean, I may be wrong, but that's how I read it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So 9. Practice, practice, practice. Marsha. There is no moment in your day or night that is not a spiritual moment. I love that line. I love that. All moments, intentions, and actions are spiritual. You are an infinite light being experiencing being human as a small component of the total aspect of who you really are. It takes practice to live the human life and blend it with the larger aspect of your divinity. How great is that?
It's really great.
It takes practice to live the human life and blend it with the larger aspect of your divinity. I love that idea of blending those two things. We are so used to living in a way that is unconscious and haphazard. To implement deliberate intention-based living takes practice. Alchemy is a new skill, and you will have to practice repeatedly, which is not any different than being a musician. We are all born with the potential to be musicians, just like we are all born with the potential to be powerful alchemists. It takes time and practice to make a good musician, just as it takes time and practice to make a good alchemist.
Yes. Nothing more to add.
No.
All right. Key number 10, create community. While making changes in your vibration and mindset ultimately is a personal journey that you must take alone, your outer reality can profoundly influence your inner reality too. Frequencies modulate. The more you attract and align with others of similar intent and vibration, the faster you will all progress. Now is a time of deep community. We will be called upon to unite in consciousness to shift our collective beliefs and the collective projection of the planetary matrix. We are not here on this journey to be alone. We are here to create a new world together. We must align ourselves energetically to project vibration of the matrix of heaven here on earth. Now is the time to practice co-creating unified goals and intentions together. When we come together in groups of 2 or more with the intention to create a deliberate experience, we amplify our energies and our opportunities for growth. I feel like she's saying everything that I've been saying. It feels like, I created the Holy Agreements group where we could meet two or more gather together and consciously create new things. Like now is the time on the planet, Elenique, I believe, where we need to be doing that more. Like you and I should be hosting those groups together. We should be calling all of the people. I mean, these are free meetings where we can get together, take prayer requests, and envision a new outcome together, thus amplifying and accelerating the manifestation.
I just thought of something. We can do that. And then we can do a collective meditation. Or we can do a collective meditation to raise our vibrations and then introduce those wishes, because as we're vibrating at a higher level, the bridge is easier, and collectively,
oh my gosh, create the vortex.
Yes.
Charge the vortex and then put it in the vortex. Yes. All of us together.
I love that.
I do too.
Okay, now we know what we need to do.
Okay, we're thinking about things. We're thinking about them.
We're thinking thoughts. I just love this book. I just love it so much. I love this idea, the matrix of heaven here on earth. Love that idea. Okay. 11. Be honest and authentic. This is what I'm going to get. This is a tattoo I'm going to get. Be honest and authentic. As a creator, you cannot create from a dishonest intention. Your underlying belief and motive for your dishonesty will somehow manifest, usually as chaos. It is law. You're either going to get caught in your dishonesty because you're afraid of being caught and you focus on it, or you will get caught because your underlying desire is to be authentic. If your actions and words are not authentic, the truth will eventually reveal itself, no matter how hard you try to hide it. If you are not fully intending what you are saying, there will be no manifestation. Your ultimate responsibility is to live true to yourself and your desires, with the understanding that when you live true to yourself, you live in alignment with God, and your motivations will be to harm no others. And this is exactly what we talked about in illusions, right? Be your authentic self. That's what Donald did at the end. He's like, this is what I want to do, and whatever, so you cannot be responsible for other people's reactions to your truth. You cannot deny who you are or your purpose because of your fear that you may hurt others. You will ultimately hurt them more with your dishonesty. You cannot control feelings or reactions of others, although you can control your experience with others. You are perfectly created to assume a role in the evolution of the planet. When you step away from the authentic calling of your soul, you walk away from your potential points of contact that will allow you to create destinies with integrity. Honestly, sometimes when we're not acting authentically, we miss opportunities to evolve and keep others from growing as well. We are not here to be heroes or martyrs, nor are we here to suffer. Yeah.
It's an interesting time to be alive.
Yeah.
To be honest and authentic in a world that requires conformity.
Yes.
And homogeny, like being like everybody else. It can require bravery and courage to stand up for yourself, stand out and separate yourself from the crowd and be authentic and say hard things. Truths that nobody wants to say, but somebody's got to say them. Somebody's got to do the hard things. And for so many of us, to be authentic and to be honest means to say those things and do those things, but we aren't doing it. And so in our not doing it, we will be found out, right? Because the deeper impulse is to be authentic and to be the change that we seek in this world. That's why we came here.
So much of the politics, particularly the United States, are a reflection of this exact idea. That if you are not allowed to be who you really are, because it's not allowed, and even when what you are may be a total hot mess and totally toxic, but that's who you are. And when you have to suppress that, everybody thinks we won. Yay, look at the beautiful, fair, and kind world that we've created. But what you have is a seething volcano, a little cauldron under there, and it will find its expression. And the truth of the lie In other words, the lie that everything was okay and everything was love and everybody got along and so much respect just gets like pulled back. And what you see under there is that it's so far from it, it's terrifying. It's almost like we're on the other end of that. And the other thing I find crazy is that in this world that supposedly now has more labels than ever to assert your uniqueness. If you can be summarized in a label, you fail to be unique. So we've lost sight of that. The minute I reduce myself into 4 words, if I summarize myself by four things that define me, then I'm reduced to four categories, 4 qualities. Is that who I am? I'm not those 4 qualities. I'm a divine soul having a human experience, constantly evolving, even out of the labels that I believed in. You know, so I find that super disturbing where we are now.
It is disturbing, but I think that it's a mirror reality. I think that the truth is in looking at it in an inverse way. What is happening on the planet is the shadow of what is seeking to emerge in authenticity.
I love that. So, that's
yes.
true.
And so, and the only reason we're feeling it is because the counterbalance of those who are waking up in the authenticity and those who are speaking the truth are also emerging. So that's why we have this polarity, right?
Yes.
Polarity existing. So and also I think the chaos and the victimhood and the labels and this societal and social move toward that is just what's showing up on the screen of our life. It's the disturbance telling us where our thorn is. Again, just another grand and very noticeable opportunity to do individual work and also collective work. So there's one way to look at it, like, oh my God, this is a terrible road. We're all going to go to hell. We're in an apocalypse. Or you can look at it like, oh, wait a minute. It's so loud because it's begging to be healed. And now is the time to heal it.
And I think that's what she's saying in the book. So I'm glad that you pointed that out, because I think that's the whole point she's saying is if we focus on reaffirming the dysfunctionality of it, we're missing the opportunity to shed the light on it and to say, oh no, look, this means there's chaos because there's change.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
All right. Key discipline. Is it that what this called? I'm lost.
Number 12. Yeah, I keep having to go back.
Key discipline number 12. Let go of the ropes. For lifetimes, we have been conditioned to be prepared just in case. In the evolving times to come, the cataclysmic nature of potential events may be so unexpected that there will be no preparing. This is why mastering alchemy is so vital, because you can always use intention and your vibrational alignment to know how to navigate through unpredictable situations. Alchemy prepares the way for constant and everyday miracles. When you understand the laws and the physics of the universe, you know that you can never fall or fail. You are always fully supported, and the full blueprint for creation is within you. Faith and trust are like muscles. They need to be strengthened with exercise and practice. Practice alchemy until you are a master. Let go and trust that when you are in alignment with your life purpose and your divine blueprint, you will be fully supported. Amen.
Amen to that. And that's the hardest thing, right? We said surrendering in a nutshell.
Yes.
Surrender and trust that you are being supported. Right?
Yep.
Well, the last final discipline key, be deliberate and remember choice. There's not a single moment when you do not have control over your experience, even though you may not be able to change actual events. There are some events that have been scripted into your journey since before you were born. You do, however, have control over how you will exercise all circumstances. If you choose to focus on what you like and what is good about a situation, as difficult as it may be, you will ultimately have a deeply different experience than if you are resisting and pushing against situations. When the heat is high and your experience seems too challenging and difficult, stop and redirect your focus on what you want to be experiencing, what you desire to feel in the situation. Hold your attention and emotions in that place to the best of your ability. It may sound counterintuitive at this point, but I restate that on which you focus grows. If you want to change your experience, you have to change your focus. Look at the good in your situation and keep your focus on your desired outcome. It's up to you. Go forth and live from your heart. As you expand the resonance of your heart, you impact and open the heart of humanity.
Beautiful.
Really
I'd like
beautiful.
to double back and get your
Mhm.
thoughts on the first half of the first paragraph, which is, there is not a single moment when you do not have control over your experience, even though you may not be able to change actual events. So, is it control? Can it be complete control without the ability to change? So, what do you think that means?
She's saying, I believe that your experience you can always control, even if you can't control the event that is actually happening. So if you're going through, let's say, for example, you're getting divorced and you may be heartbroken about it. You may not want to be going through that, but are you going to go through that in a toxic way, grabbing on, being bitter, creating fights? Are you going to go into that with a surrendered way of just sort of being in your grief, but it's happening and whatever? Are you going to go through it in an empowered way, asking yourself, okay, this ended. What could I have done different? Or how, let me take a look at myself and let me see where I can grow from this experience. See, it's the same things happening. A divorce is happening, but you have control over the experience that you're going to live through as you go through that event that is happening outside. And I
So,
do believe that.
pain is inevitable, suffering is optional and a
Exactly.
choice.
Exactly.
Although I believe personally, and I believe that
Me,
wholly,
myself.
I believe personally that you wield a lot more control than you think. I
Mhm.
think we are all masterful creators. I think that there are many different techniques of the imagination that you can employ to change an outcome that seems to be determined.
Yes.
So it's not like throwing up your hands and saying, okay, I can't change the event, but I'm going to change how I feel about the event. Yes, that's true. But I think there's a lot of times we can, with our consciousness and our intention, actually change the event as well.
What is that poem? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Something,
Yes.
what does it say? And then,
The AA poem,
yeah,
the
St.
Serenity.
Thomas, right? Assisi, is it him that
I
wrote
don't
that?
think so. It's the Serenity Prayer.
Who wrote the
Looking it up.
Serenity Prayer?
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, taking this world as it is and not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen. That was a quote by Reinhold Niebuhr.
Reinhold.
Niebuhr.
Well, that was
Reinhold
hard.
Niebuhr. Yeah.
Okay.
But
So we got to
that's
look him up. That was a good prayer.
it is a good prayer. And I think that's typically associated with Alcoholics Anonymous, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I always just remember my mom always having a little plaque that had the first three lines. God
Mm-hmm.
grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to know the
Mm-hmm.
difference,
Mm-hmm.
and wisdom. What was the third
No,
line?
wisdom to know the difference, courage to change the things that you can
Courage to change
change.
the things I
Right.
can. And I
Right.
think that's where it is. And that's what that's why I brought
Yes.
it to my attention. It is not about just doing nothing and being like, well, I can't change it, so I'll change my mindset. No,
Right. Yes.
you're active. And I'm learning so much about this. And I keep talking about this yoga training, but
That's
just, I
good.
love it so much. This place is just incredible. But they're teaching us when you're in a pose, it's about active. You're actively in the pose, but you're in a relaxed activity. So there is a relaxation and a just surrendering into the pose, even while there is engagement. And I think that's the line that we're trying to find in life. It's like, I am doing things, I am moving, I am creating, but I'm also allowing. So, how do I do that? And it's not giving up. It's not, oh, well, don't worry about the environment. Just don't worry. There's no act without attachment. That's hard to do.
I love that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Active but surrendered.
Yes.
Active surrender.
Yes.
All right, so that leads us to the last part for this week, which is the Abundance Manifesto. These are 13 very highly charged affirmations that I think are going to activate us in the work that we're going to be doing this month as we go through this book. So why don't we go ahead and read through these? Do you want to take the wheel?
Number 1, I am a radiant magnetic being. Abundance is my birthright and my natural state. I attract everything I desire into my life with effortlessness and ease. I know that unseen loving forces are supporting me constantly. I focus my attention and energy on having exactly what I want manifest in my life. I am fully open to the magic of the universe, helping me with every step of creation. Miracles happen to me every day. I am deeply grateful for all of my life experiences. I know they are helping me expand my thinking and my consciousness. My positive emotions show me that my attention is in alignment with my desires. I am on my way to creating exactly what I want. I surround myself with people who support my creative process. Abundant opportunities are always presenting themselves to me. Creation is a constantly evolving process. I'm always doing it right. I'm always growing and changing. I take guided actions that are in alignment with my desires and beliefs. I am fully supported, deeply loved, and magnificently powerful. I am an unlimited child of the universe.
Beautiful.
They are.
All right, as a reminder, we are going to be covering chapters 1 through 3 next week. You still have time to get the book and
please get the book. It's
move
so beautiful
along with us. It really is. It's a magical, and as I said, I think it's filled with activations.
Totally.
Again, you can write to us with some of your thoughts. If you have any questions, miraculousthinking@gmail.com. Join us in our Facebook community. Also follow us on YouTube. I think what we are also going to do is create a separate meditation consisting of this Abundance Manifesto. This will be offered as a second episode this week. It'll be labeled meditation. And I think what we would like for folks to do is to set up a time where they can be kind of in a quiet space, in a relaxed state, and go through the meditation with each of the affirmations to really, really help us to anchor this energy. Will you be able to do that meditation for us, Elenique?
Yes, I think what I'll do is just do a brief guided relaxation just to bring everybody, into a place where the vibration is relaxed enough so that we can contemplate these, what did you call them? You had a word you used for them.
Affirmations?
Affirmations. Yes, I just went blank on that. Yes, affirmations. So just to bring you into a place, and it's going to be short because the idea is that you can just use this, right before going to bed or right when you get up in the morning. So we're going to try to keep it short, and usable, but that definitely it starts to become part of that program that we're trying to substitute for worry and fear. We're going to try to actually put in these as our core beliefs that are going to create our new reality.
So definitely look for that. A second episode this week, marked meditation. And if you have the time and the intention, get into it, get activated, and let's move inside the body of God, everybody.
Ooh, love it.
All right, everybody, you have a beautiful rest of your week. Stay warm, stay safe, and stay blessed. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.